we needed. I served as a county commissioner in Warren County for 12 years. During that time, we addressed different issues down there. As chairman of Economic and Agricultural Development Committee, I helped bring in 3 different industries, almost 500 jobs. That was after Carrier had pulled out. We need someone in Nashville that will stand up for the counties, the rural counties where we live. It's like Grundy County, talking with the road superintendent here, been waiting on a 4-lane highway for 20 years, never seen 1 square inch of asphalt. Warren County, same thing. We were promised a 4-lane highway 10 years ago, and they have pared it down to several turning lanes. They're not expanding the road itself, just a few access to turn. But at the same time, Tennessee Department of Transportation found $1.4 million to resurface a road in Nashville that they've been using for 10 years. It seems like in the rural counties we get the crumbs that are just simply left over. How many times are we told, well, we ran out of money, we used it somewhere else, and they seem to ignore us, and we need someone that's willing to stand up and fight for the people in the area. I have family here. I have grandkids in Grundy County. I have great-grandkids here. I have friends in White County. We love to hike. We love Fiery Gizzard. I've done it. Greeter Falls, Stone Door. We have a beautiful area. Why are we not taking advantage of the tourism dollars that they seem to have everywhere else? We have the 2nd largest state park system in the state, and we don't have not one RV site.
You're on my side there.
Well, now, everybody knows folks that have an RV. My wife and I have an RV. We love to take the grandkids out. But there's not one public RV site on top of the mountain where we can park and say, kids, we're going to do trails for 2 days. Mm-hmm. We're going to go to the restaurants around here. We'll buy gas, groceries, whatever. You have to invest in your community, and we're not getting it. And I think it's high time we do.
How would you go about bringing a campsite inside the state park system?
You have to put it in the budget. You have to get the land, and I understand White County's already getting some. I think Grundy County has some now, but it has to be developed. You have to tell the people in charge of the park department, it's time. We've waited long enough. I know for a fact when governments invest in the communities, in Warren County, the city of McMinnville and Warren County got together. We invested in something called Bluegrass Underground when it was being developed. Now, Bluegrass Underground, when they were filming at the Cumberland Caverns, you couldn't get a motel room in McMinnville. You couldn't get into a restaurant. The tourism dollars and the taxes they brought in more than covered the investment from the governments. And now that program is being filmed here in Grundy County. But unless you have the infrastructure, the roads that you need, so you can put up a motel and fill up, and the restaurants and all of that, the tourism dollar is going to wind up in a different county. Mm-hmm. And we don't need that here. We need it staying within the district.
We were talking earlier, what are some of the differences between you and the representative that we presently have that you would like to see worked on or changed?
What we have now, the representative we have now seems to go straight down party lines. If it says Republican on it, they can count on his vote. I'm running as a Democrat, and I've already told those at the Democratic Party, don't bring me a bill to vote for just because it says Democrat on it. I don't care who comes up with the idea. I'll dive across the aisle if I have to help the people of this district. That's all it is. It's people working together. Our party system has broken down. It's in shambles, and no one wants to work with each other. And it's like a gentleman said the other day, you have a problem with the fence between you and your neighbor, y'all get together and work it out. We're not doing that in Nashville. They're down there playing too many political games, and we don't need that. They tend to forget it's not the party that put them there, it's the people that they're supposed to be representing. And I think it's high time we get back to it.
We were talking education. Your wife, you said, was a teacher for many years.
Yes.
How would you improve school systems if you're working in the district?
Improve the school systems?
Yes, sir.
Part of it is I would put more emphasis on local control. Everyone remembers the No Child Left Behind. Well, as a county commissioner, I took time to read the Tennessee BEP plan and the No Child Left Behind law cover to cover. The only thing that law did was take control of our school systems out of our control. If our schools had not passed their test, the federal government could have come in, removed our elected school board officials, and put a private company in charge. I don't know of any man, woman, or child in our district that would want that, but they were going to force us to pay for it. We need to make sure that the control of our schools stays here. We don't need to allow that to happen again. We don't need that threat. At the same time, we need to make sure the kids are safe. Between technology that's available and SRO officers, we can secure the schools, we can protect our kids and let teachers simply teach, which is what they're there for. They're there to guide and teach our kids.
Okay. We're talking, what would be some of those ideas that you would like to see implemented as far as school security?
With school security, there's things called magnetic locks, there's metal detectors, CCTV. They could pinpoint anyone in the building. They could lock it down all the way around and still have safety access for kids if there was a fire or something. Metal detectors at the front doors, you confine the different entrances that are allowed to use for the public. And once that happens, you have complete control of it. Now, if someone tries to prop open a door out of a classroom, they can know about that and the SRO can attend to it right away. But it's basically teamwork, like we're not seeing, and if the state needs to pay for it, then the state needs to pay for it. Most of our county school systems don't have enough money to pay the teachers what they should. Mm-hmm. And that's a shame because we're losing good teachers on a consistent basis.
Mm-hmm. We were talking healthcare a while ago. Mm-hmm. How do you stand on healthcare?
I spoke with, I tried to do my homework on all the issues, not just political homework, but I've gone to doctors and I've asked them their opinion about things. There's a doctor in Warren County, a lot of people up here will be familiar with him, named Wally Bigby. Now, Dr. Bigby tells me that 70% of the people in America want socialized medicine, that only about 72% of your insurance dollar actually goes to your health care, the rest of it's insurance administration. But under Medicaid, 97% of the money that's paid in, it goes to actual health care. It's not just expanding the Medicaid like Governor Haslam asked them to, and they didn't. It's fixing the TennCare and the Medicaid system to work together where they meet in the middle. We have too many people that I have known personally made too much money to obtain TennCare, but they didn't make enough to pay for the affordable health care. So they're falling in between the cracks somewhere. I found out a few days ago we have 12,000 roughly National Guardsmen in the state of Tennessee that don't qualify for VA benefits, and they're falling through the cracks. We need to fix it so TennCare meets Medicaid, expand Medicaid simply to keep our tax dollars. The state of Tennessee has lost 10 hospitals, 10 across our state, and most of them are in rural areas. We almost lost a hospital in Warren County, and it's a good-sized facility, a lot of employees, but it's not being compensated for the care it's giving to the area. I did Dash to the Door last Saturday over in Beersheba Springs for the Beersheba Medical Clinic. It's open 2 days a week. They say you can't hardly get through there on those days because so many people don't have coverage. Now, we're paying the tax in for Medicaid. Why is our legislature sending it outside of the state to be used somewhere else? That's no kind of business sense to me. People don't do that. I don't know farmers that say, here, take a third of my crop and send it somewhere else. We just don't do it. And since the tax is already being paid, we need to utilize it here at home.
Okay. what's the biggest difference between you and your opponents?
I knew our former state representative, Kevin Dunlap, known him for over 20 years. A lot of outside money, outside of the district, came in, sent out mailers about him, said an awful lot of nasty things. I know this man to be a great teacher to our kids, a good father. He's a deacon in his church. He's a fine Christian gentleman. Mm-hmm. And the things they called him were awful. And I asked one of my opponents at this time, I said, when did we get to the point in this country that we take our kids and grandkids to church, that we tell them to listen to the preacher, read the Bible, follow the 10 Commandments, and then we're willing to violate the 9th commandment about false witness in a heartbeat, sign our name to all kinds of lies because of politics? And the answer I got was, well, that's politics. And I was appalled when I heard it. We need to set a better example for our kids and grandkids. We need to take our government back and say it represents the people, not a party. It's okay if we believe differently. When I was in service, I had a Jewish commander. He didn't believe in Almighty God the way I do, but he has that right in this country because our veterans have stepped up and served and sacrificed. I don't know of any two men that have the exact comprehension of the Bible. Everyone has a little different opinion, and in this country, we have that right. I don't agree with a lot of them, but we've had men and women that have given the full sacrifice, so we have that right. It's like voting. So many people say, well, I don't want to take time, but we still have the right because people have served to help us have that right. And I would hope that people in this district go out, if no other reason, just to thank a veteran and say, I voted today, thank you. Mm-hmm. We need to do it. It's our responsibility. And I think that's probably the biggest difference between me and the opponents. Mm-hmm. I'm willing to stand up and say so.
You mentioned the vets and Special National Guard just a few minutes ago, which are state.
Right.
How would you be able to help veterans and people that have served our country and served our state through the National Guard? How would you be able to help them as a state representative?
One of the things is working with Major General Max Haston, who is the Adjutant General. I know for a fact, I heard him speak one day about the suicide rate. We have an incredible suicide rate of veterans that have served. We need to address it. We need to have those special programs in place. It doesn't matter what it costs. You taught a program at Grundy County Jail. I taught one at a state prison facility over at Bledsoe County, helping people make better choices. Well, if we can do that, we can certainly counsel with our vets and help them get the counseling and the help they need so that suicide rate goes away. We don't need that. They've already been through enough. And we need to be helping them every day. I was speaking with the gentleman earlier about our drug problems. We need to be addressing those when kids are trying drugs, not waiting putting them in prison. There's too many of them because they go to prison because they get so hooked on them, they have to have them, and they wind up breaking into a neighbor's home. We need to be addressing it in high school. And I don't mean just say no program. I mean, here's what it does. This is what it does to you. The DARE program is a great program, but it's not being carried forward as they're getting older and being tempted more and more. And we need to let them know the reality of what they're facing. They need to be making better choices when they're in high school, not saying, well, it's okay. They say, I can just do it once and I'll be cool. It's not. We need to address the abuse program, the problem in this district. The inmates I worked with, well over 50% had been abused as kids. And we need to address that. That's it.
Okay. Final question.
Yes, sir.
Look at everybody and tell them why they need to vote for Les Trotman.
I think that if you'll look at my record as a county commissioner, helping bring in industry, doing right by our school systems, you'll see that I use integrity, strength, and common sense. The common sense is working with others to come to a good conclusion for the most amount of people. The integrity and strength is simply trying to do the right thing to simply do the right thing. It doesn't take a lot to do. It doesn't take a lot to stand up, but you have to have the strength and character to do it. I'm Les Trotman. I think I'm the best choice for a better district, and I'd appreciate your vote.
Thank you, Mr. Trotman.
Thank you.
We'll take a break and be right back.
Kay and Greg Gillum have added another touch of excellence to their furniture